You are live. Okay, guys, that's it. It's 7:30. It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. Kingdom Comics and Games live. Hi guys, welcome back again. Wednesday. As always, without further ado, I'm going to bring on this week's guest, which is the fabulous Geoff Nicholson, author, podcaster, teacher, legend. Geoff, how are you?
I've never been called fabulous before.
Looking at the shirt, and I had to say it, man. It's just like you're just absolutely fabulous.
Oh, it's yeah, I wear them at work because I think it's funny that teachers stereotypically wear kind of plain colours and ties. So I deliberately just try and go a bit mental with it.
I've got a lot of floral shirts myself here. So that's my wife hates them, but I
quite like especially. That's your issue because it's my wife that buys my shirts. So.
Oh, right. I have to buy them and then try and hide them so she doesn't destroy them for me. So we're here to talk about comics, as always. For those of you who don't know, Geoff is a comic creator. He's got his own comic out at the moment called The Spirit of Enki, which is on Kickstarter.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely right now. You can go over to Kickstarter, back it. It's already made his pledge goal, so I'm assuming there's going to be some kind of deals in the future.
Oh, I don't know.
But no, it's absolutely worth getting. I picked it up on Kickstarter myself just a couple of days ago. Get over there. I'll stick the link up on the bottom of the screen. Get over it. You want to talk to us about Spirit of Enki?
I must apologise. Like I was upset watching Andrew work because obviously I run the backstage stuff for the Brewgooders podcast, and it's amazing just watching other folk like do all this stuff. I don't. There you go. Look, they even click that wee button.
I'm going to stick that into the comments as well, so that people can follow it easier rather than just seeing it on the banner.
Yeah, awesome. So a couple of years ago, we started the Brewgooders podcast, and I had met Colin Maxwell, who's my co-host and best mate, when I was doing work for a podcast previously, and then like that kind of fell through, and I always thought like, I always wanted to do another podcast with Colin, so we were doing the Brewgooders, and Colin's an absolute legend in Scottish comics, actually, and somebody that I really look up to. So, loads of car journeys and bus journeys and stuff, and he's chatting away about all his like upcoming projects. So I just decided to kind of go head first and try and do my my wee series, which I think it was Tom Ward said to me as quite recently that if he was to give a tip to aspiring comic writers to like start small. So obviously, I hadn't realised that 2 years ago. So the Spirit of Enki is like, it's supposed to be reminiscent of like an MCU film or something that the CW TV network would put out as a program. But yeah, it's a superhero action adventure series set in Iraq.
It's an interesting set in Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's it's not often you hear it's set in Iraq. Obviously, I know it's a kind of adventurer and it's a historical thing, which makes sense because that's where civilizations came from. But yeah, what made you decide on Iraq?
I'm a teacher to trade, but I work in pupil support. But many moons ago, I trained as a religious, moral, and philosophical studies teacher, an RE teacher. So I'm just kind of the learning about different cultures and learning about the sort of the religions, particularly like religions that are necessarily in existence anymore. You know, they were like pillaged away by by other cultures and buried and ruined. But just kind of fascinated by different things going on in different countries. I think Iraq's a really it's always kind of fascinated me in as a country, because it's been torn up and pulled apart over and over and over again by many different cultures and many different backdrops, and so that you've got kind of like cultures living on previous cultures living on, but then I don't know. It's quite an incredible place, I believe. It's a place I would actually quite like to visit at some point, when it's not on like blacklists as places that tourists
when
go
it's not completely dangerous to go to.
So like one thing I particularly like about Middle Eastern religion as well, in particular, so we're both in Scotland, and the predominant religion, if there is such a thing, would probably be Christianity, and sort of the Abrahamic religions in general are kind of based on this idea that God is perfect and creator, and you're either, you should aspire to be as much as you can like that, and the sort of the guiding tenets of Abrahamic religion is to follow the teachings and the doctrine of your deity and to follow the guidelines. Whereas sort of there is moral behavior in sort of Middle Eastern and Far Eastern religion, but it's I don't know. It's quite I find that the gods and goddesses of these areas are often morally ambiguous, and I find that quite fascinating. They have the power of, they're recognized as having the powers of creation, destruction, fertility, growth, but they're kind of flawed, and I think that's, for lack of a better word, and I think that's quite fascinating, that the idea that you would have all this power and the ability to move universes and create and destroy everything, creation itself, and yet you're also, I don't know, Enki, for example, was a bit of a shagger. He found himself getting in bother quite a lot.
More common in ancient religions than you would believe.
Well, absolutely. A lot of betrayal and a lot of from people that, as I say, in Western religion, you're kind of taught that like God is perfect or and omnipresent. That's not the case.
Yeah, but modern, that's all modern Western religions, though, I think, and it's that thing. If you go back far enough, European religions used to be pantheistic, just the same as sort of the Middle Eastern ones.
Yeah, totally.
The Norse, the Greeks, the Romans, the Celts, and things like that, and they were all, they were very similar. They were all shaggers. They were all,
I love that. Yeah, they're just flawed. You know what I mean? Like
they fight, and they had flawed gods. They had to.
I quite like the idea that they had that power, but it would almost be like, in many regards, it's almost like the sort of the difference between us and insects, maybe, in that like, we to an insect, I don't know if insects had an understanding of an understanding or sort of a religious doctrine, they would probably look at things like humans and humanity as creators and destroyers and stuff like that. But ultimately, humans were far from perfect. So actually, I just love that kind of, and I wanted to include that in the comic.
Yeah. I think it's all about outlook on how you see things, sort of thing. It's, Ian Banks described it as an out of context problem. Like insects can't envisage what humans are like. All they can envisage is the shadow that we cast, or the foot coming down on them, or something like that. They didn't care what's happened. It's just been a deific disaster.
Yeah.
And
Lovecraft talks about that quite a lot as well. I quite love the I don't know, Banks's I think Banks is much more optimistic with those kind of reflections on theism. What I love about Lovecraft has kind of a similar view, but his is all about like you can't see what's going on, we can't perceive what's going on above humanity's head, so be fucking frightened.
Yeah, it's like anything could be going on. Anything could be going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, anybody got any questions for Geoff? Feel free to drop us a line, or even just say hello if you're watching.
That's I find that fascinating about Middle Eastern religion. So I kind of wanted to I always kind of wanted to set a story there, and then and have the element of gods in there. But I'm also a big, massive Marvel, DC, IDW superhero fan. So I was kind of I wanted to kind of pull that into it as well. I just wanted to throw in as much as I could. I wanted to have a fish out of water element to it all. So the comics got two protagonists. One, Clyde Barrett, is a captain, former army captain, who is now a sort of private contractor based in Iraq, and the other protagonist is a young lady called Daria Amari, who is an Iraqi woman. So I mentioned earlier about how Iraq's such a complicated place with loads of different stuff going on, but it's also got one of the most horrendous. I think it's improving, fair enough, but it has one of the most improving records towards like inequalities, gender-based inequality. So I think the United Nations did United Nations did like a human rights commission based on like inequalities between genders throughout the world, and Iraq's like the second or third worst offender when it comes to treating women as women on par with men. So I wanted to have as the comic progresses, I really want to put a point across that like everybody could be a hero. You can be an amazing person, and everybody has the opportunity and not the opportunity. That's the opposite of it. Everybody has the capacity and the ability to be incredible, but society or global society is tendency to put others down and make other people feel inadequate or not nurtured or unsupported or not provided with the opportunities necessary for growth. Prevents them. So like Daria Amari is just as capable and incredible as any other human being on the planet, given the right opportunities. And I really wanted to have the fact that I've got her actually here, this beautiful cover drawn by Colin Maxwell. I wanted I don't know. I'm imagining. I'm not sure really how many times an Iraqi woman is featured on the front cover of a superhero comic, but I thought that was really, really important. Just that.
Inclusivity in comics is a big thing at the moment. Obviously, trying to make sure every group, whether by dint of race or religion or sex or whatever like that, is included. So,
it's so important. It's so important. Yeah.
That's great. So that's obviously the Kickstarter is live now. So if you're interested, you can pop on over. Links on my page. I think I shared it yesterday. The link's on here as well. You can pick up issues 1 and 2. If you
1 and 2 are available now. 3 is 3's part of the Kickstarter. You can get 1, 2, and 3 as part of the Kickstarter as well. I love it every time. I get a wee smirk every time I look at that. But that the issue 3 cover, I really wanted to make sure I had really strong covers for all my comics. So like issue 1, I'm really, really proud of. It's got the whole. My friend Hernandez put this together. Hernandez Gonzalez did this for us, and I really again wanted to put Daria on the cover. I wanted to just particularly the sort of Raiders of the Lost Ark vibe to it, in that kind of, and then Colin Maxwell, he did issue 2, which is originally we had a Clyde on the cover, and I was like, no, I actually want to put Daria. If we're going to have like a front and center character, I'd it was Daria. And then Colin, the master stroke by Colin was there's a running joke about Raiders of the Lost Ark in the comic, So Colin wanted to.
You've gone for the logo sort of thing, eh? So.
Mm-hmm. And then issue 3 is done by James Lawrence, who has an amazing series out called The Legend of La Mariposa.
That's that one. Yep.
Yeah, so if you haven't read that, you need to check it out. The Legend of La Mariposa is about a young female luchador trying to become a superhero in like a sort of mythical Aztec Mexico area. But I love his work, and so when I've got a list of artists I want to do my covers, and James was always kind of top. So he's it's supposed to be inspired by kind of like Godzilla, Kong. There's actually
a kaiju type thing now.
Yeah. There's also anybody that knows their WrestleMania posters, because I'm a big wrestling fan. Well, that's reminiscent of that kind of stuff as well. WrestleMania 3.
What a similarity, all
that. So it's amazing, and the fact that the Kickstarter's made like so much money over, like that was what we were funded this time.
It's like obviously you've still got quite a ways to go, so here's hoping we can make this your most successful one yet.
I hope so. You were saying earlier about we were chatting a wee bit earlier about stretch goals. I'm not. I don't know how I feel about stretch goals. To be honest, I think there's maybe too much. Not because there's anything wrong with putting a stretch goal in. I'm just quite lazy, and I'm like
most of the time I see them they're for games rather than comics. It's games that have extra characters and things like that, or extra cards, extra missions, things like that. With a comic, it's difficult. The comic's set length, so it's difficult to add anything really.
Yeah, totally. So certainly with this, like the £200, I don't like to like stretch too far. So like the £200 was literally to cover printing costs and little perks. One of the things that recurrently comes up in when we interview folk on the Brewgooders is that you over deliver and under promise on your Kickstarters. Hi, Michael. And the price was deliberately low, but it does mean that anything over the £200 is just going straight into issue 4, which is almost finished. It's been written just now. So I'm not stretch goaling anything, but if you're still pledging,
still pledging, you're getting the comics. Like I say, hands up, I've got the comic myself. I'm looking forward to receiving it.
In fairness, there has been a pandemic on. That's the only reason why. Like issue 1 came out like the month after lockdown started. So it was all supposed to be funded through conventions, which obviously hasn't happened. So
no conventions at the moment, unfortunately. So.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go. Say good luck with that. We'll mention that again a wee bit later in the show. But I do have some regular questions that I ask every week of whoever's on, cool. And this week will be no different. First question I'll usually ask is, what got you into comics? What was your gateway comic? First comic you can remember buying or reading, or what brought you into this hobby?
Yeah, Beano and Dandy. I think probably a lot of young folk in Scotland or people that in Scotland would probably say the same. Like,
you get the annuals for your Christmas and things like that.
Yeah, totally.
I'm surprised no one's seen said or Willie yet.
Yeah, we haven't had an Willie yet, have we? But I was really interested in. I read the Bean on the Dandy for ages. Didn't really have much in the way of opportunity to buy comics in the sort of Rosyth, Dunfermline. Actually, growing up,
you would have had to go to Edinburgh to Deadhead Comics or
the Forbidden Planet as well.
Forbidden Planet or science fiction bookshop, depending on how
old
you are.
But I do remember, like, I can't remember why I was going through there, but I spent a week when I was in first year at high school coming to and from. I think there was something going on at the golf course that my dad used to drop me off at, and I would take the train home. And there was a really awesome Woolworths on Cowdenbeath High Street, and the first comic I actually mind buying was from there, and it was the graphic novelization of the first X-Men movie.
Okay,
and it was really good, and I really enjoyed it. And so I remember reading that, and going, "Oh, this is pretty cool." And then a couple of days later, they had, I remember it being like a Robin series that came out, where it was like and I actually haven't kept the comic or find it. a lot of people that we got on the podcast always can remember their first comic and are able to even pull out a copy. But I remember reading like a run of Robin that came out maybe 20 years ago and was like, this is quite good.
I would say I'm one of those guys. I've not got the comic either. I had so many comics growing up, and then went to college, moved out, did other things, drank beer, met girls and stuff like this. And during my time away, my mum ditched all of them. I've only really started collecting again as an adult in the last 10 years. So
mums do that, and I don't think they mean to be. Mums do that, and I don't think they mean to be mean. Or
they just assume that you're not into that thing anymore.
Yeah, totally. And then you have no idea that these things might actually, I had an uncle as well. The other comic I remember reading when I was young, I had an uncle, my Uncle Ernie, who was an absolute legend. When I was about 13, 14, I used to spend a lot of time with him. He was in Kirkcaldy, and we used to go to one of the newsagents in Temple Hall, which is, for anyone that doesn't know, is quite a
spectacular area.
I was going to say it's quite a spectacularly colourful area. But we used to go to. He would buy me a 2000 AD, and I would sit at the Temple Hall bar and think that was totally fine. When actually, I can't imagine sitting in the Temple Hall bar now.
Uncle in having a beer, was he? And you were.
Well, that was it. Yeah, he was having a beer. I was having a kind of Fanta and reading 2000 AD. So yeah. Comics are great.
I've said this to almost everyone who's mentioned it. 2000 AD, growing up in Britain, if you're under 50, growing up in Britain, 2000 AD was just an absolute godsend. It's one of the best anthology comics in the world, with some of the greatest creators over the years have worked with it.
Totally, so you come back to quite a lot as well, isn't it? Like I've been a subscriber to 2000 AD, I think maybe 3 times. I think it was when around about the time my Uncle Ernie was buying it, and then sort of in my mid-20s, and then I resubscribed last year, and I don't ever intend to unsubscribe. It's
you're going to keep on getting them.
I think if you're a comic reader in Britain, it has been part of your life at some point. 2000 AD certainly like things like what you say about like all the writers and stuff that have come through, and the gateway to so much stuff. I've got a love affair with Dan Abnett that started with 2000 AD, and obviously I followed his career through to Guardians of the Galaxy, a lot of the stuff he did for Black Library. He does a lot of the Warhammer books. And then last year he had an absolutely smashing series again on 2000 AD called The Out, which is absolutely incredible. And if you've not read it, you need to try and get copies of 2000 AD from last summer, because it's outstanding. And that weird kind of full circle journey that I took with one particular writer is quite incredible. And 2000 AD does that quite a lot, I think.
I mean, like I say, they've got the staff writers that are consistently churning out stuff. And then, some of the guys that come in and just do, one and dones or short runs or something like that. Even when they used to in the magazine, they started serializing like Dark Horse stuff and Image comics and things like this. Yeah. It was one of the first places I saw Preacher. Was in 2000 AD, and that's I think of that as the comic that got me back into comics as an adult. So
I don't know if you were the same when you were younger as well, but I don't think my mum and dad, and obviously Mark Orney as well, realised actually how racy 2000 AD could be at times.
Yeah, it could be.
I remember like holding it up to my face so you could see like some of the more evocative images in Slain, and being like,
oh my God, Slain in particular. There's some of the some are rather suggestive. So
totally.
Well, but it's on then. Something else I usually add. What's your 3 favourite comics? Or comic runs, titles?
You did tell me the questions beforehand, and I thought my favourite comic character of all time is this shark that I mention all the time in our podcast called Hookjaw.
Yeah.
I just think he's great. Just this idea of like a weird kind of mythical shark who is so like action comics in the 70s used to rip on what was going on in the cinema, particularly cult cinema at the time.
British action comics for
British action comics, not the
Superman comic.
Superman holding the car thing. But so they used to do a lot of kind of like kung fu stories and like sort of Dirty Harry, really kind of grim lone cop stories. But they also had Hookjaw, which was supposed to be a riff on Jaws, I think, at the time. But the idea of if Jaws had some sort of psychic superpower, and to make him even scarier than Jaws was in the film. And I just love it as a character, as a concept. And
what if the shark was the hero? That's the thing.
And just great. So anything that Hookjaw's in, there was a really awesome Hookjaw run in 2000 AD last year that was really good, where they added the element of sort of Celtic Cornish religion, and so like Hookjaw was genuinely emerging out of hot tubs to eat gangsters and stuff, and it was incredible. It sounds so weird, but I do love my weird comics. I find this really hard to talk about comics of all time, like favorite comics of all time.
Graphic novels, runs.
Graphic novels, so like I'd probably jump at things like I love Mouse, which is just. But I think that's
a phenomenal piece of literature.
Yeah, and I think it is. It's funny because, as I said earlier, I'm a massive superhero fan, but like I don't think there's any superhero comics I would put in my top anything. I would probably say like Mouse, V for Vendetta, I think is up there. There was an amazing comic I discovered a couple of years ago, last year, called Stay, which has always stuck with me, about an older couple on holiday. I don't know if we ever talked about this in our podcast, but or you're aware of it. Oh no, it's absolutely incredible about I say this older couple on holiday, a sort of suppressed housewife, not emotionally or not emotionally abused or anything, but just kind of like a husband, things in order and things like that. And so he has like an itinerary for everything, and she's just kind of found herself in a marriage where she just follows her husband around, her very charismatic and opinionated husband, and she goes with him and lives quite a content life. But in page 2 of Stay, he gets beheaded by a off panel, I should add, but he gets beheaded by a rogue sign. So they're on holiday in South France, and like one of the metal panels from a sign on a shop front blows off and chops his head off. And so she's in a situation where her husband has been carried away by an ambulance, and she doesn't know what to do. So she finds his diary, which is itinerized the entire holiday, and so she just decides to continue the holiday,
carry on doing it, following
and it's great. It's just an amazing exploration into things like grief and mental health and marriage and life, and it's a bizarre. Yeah, a bizarre coming of age story.
Who was the writer? Do you know?
I needed to get out. It was Eisner nominated. I was gonna bring it. I'm googling it just now. I know you and me do this at the same time, but I'll put the link up. But I was also really quite happy because it was Eisner nominated, and I remember being like, oh, I read something that's recognized as it. So yeah, you're doing what I'm doing, aren't you? This is why this is a bit we're in our podcast.
I'm trying to find it.
We get Colin talking.
There's just so many different.
One of the writers is called Trondheim. His second name's Trondheim. I remember that because Dunfermline is paired with Trondheim. Let's see if you can see it. Don't Google Stay Trondheim because you just get like a list of hotels to stay in Trondheim. It's by I've got it here. So it's called Stay. It's by Louis Trondheim as author, and artist is Hubert Chevallard. It's a French comic that's been translated into English, and it's absolutely incredible.
I think I've got the cover it up there.
Yeah.
Found it, so yeah, I'm going to have a look at that. It sounds absolutely fascinating.
I'll give you my coffee. So yeah, that's the one. I would say that's my but even in sort of the evocative imagery on the cover, she's in his shadow. I think is kind of the message that they're putting across is that she's lived her marriage in her husband's shadow, and then all of a sudden her husband is very dramatically not there. Yeah. And it's how she reacts and continues her life in that situation. It's just incredible, and anybody that you should check out. So that's I would say that's in my top 3.
So you've got a recommendation for this week. Go for that one. going to go on to just basically what happens in the world now. The Week in Geek. I like to discuss it every week. I'm going to bring in a regular conspirator. I know that you're pushed for time today, so if you need to leave, Geoff, just
no, thanks. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for having me.
Tomorrow, yeah, obviously, for those of you who do not, you're probably all aware. Geoff and Colin have a regular podcast called The Brewgooders on a Thursday, and I do a sort of Canadian roving reporter coming in at half time to talk about this week's comics and some beer and things like that.
You come in at half time when the rest of us are half cut to
make sure they can have a wee break off screen and things like that. So
absolutely,
it was lovely speaking to you, Geoff.
Oh man, thanks so much.
I shall speak to you tomorrow again. Cheers and
cheers.
Bring in cheers, mate. John.
Hello.
John, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. No many comments tonight, so anybody got any questions, any comments, anything like that? Obviously, drop them in. We'll try and think it. Usually it's John talking about the bunty, but obviously this is his week on. So
that's it, yeah.
Obviously this is a kind of new thing we introduced last week, that I brought in Mark at half time, and this week we're bringing in John. And my idea, if they're willing, is I'm going to do them weeks about joining me, and then on weeks when I didn't have anybody to talk to, we'll maybe get the both of them in and just discuss what's been happening. So what's been happening this week, mate?
Nothing much, really. A bit of jury duty. Trailers?
I'm talking about, obviously, jury duty. We're not talking about things that you can't talk about.
I can't discuss that, but that's the only exciting thing that's happened this week so far. No, been watching a few trailers dropping. Recently, I noticed Shang-Chi dropped the other day.
Shang-Chi I watched it yesterday, and I'm very excited for it. It does not look like I imagined Shang-Chi. They've gone for a very normal, like I was expecting, a ridiculously handsome, ripped guy, and they've not went that way at all. The guys
in my head, I thought they were going to do like the 70s Shang-Chi, but obviously they couldn't really do that due to racial stereotypes and whatnot. Because in the comic, Fu Manchu is his dad.
In my mind, it's like Tony Jaa or somebody like that. It's who I kind of, who I had in mind.
Well, every time I see the comics from the 70s, instantly Bruce Lee springs to mind, because it looks like that kind of era. So it's, but yeah, no, it looks very good. I'm quite surprised. It looks like very good. It looks like, big envision, like a kind of Bond-esque type adventure. It's quite good. Yeah, you see all the helicopters and the mountaintop stronghold and stuff like that. It's very. You
just you see all the henchmen that you're sort of fighting at different times and things like this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I thought I recognised Wes Chatham from The Expanse, Amos, as one of the henchmen, but I'm not sure if it was him or just somebody who looks like him. But yeah, it just looked. It looks awesome. It does look phenomenal.
So Marvel doing it again, fantastic.
Yeah. I think taking stuff that you've never heard of and then knocking it out of the park, because most people who are no comic readers will have never heard of Shang-Chi or never read a Shang-Chi comic. Much like it was with Guardians of the Galaxy, and much like it's going to be with Eternals. I'm not sure is Eternals out before Shang-Chi. I think it is, isn't it? Black Widow's
I haven't seen a trailer for it, so I don't know.
I haven't seen a trailer for it.
I know we're getting like 6 Marvel films in the next 12 months or something ridiculous like that. We're getting quite a lot.
Yeah, that includes your Spider-Man and things like that, does it? Spider-Man,
Black Widow as well,
Shang-Chi, Eternals.
Eternals isn't on my radar. It's not on my radar. I think
it's an unusual choice. I know when they originally announced their Slatey movies, they were going to do an Inhumans movie, and that eventually became a TV show, which was not well received at all.
I haven't seen it, no, but thankfully it wasn't well received. Otherwise, we never had of Anson Mount as Captain Pike over on Discovery, and now his new show, Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, getting a new Star, which is always good to do, a new Star Trek show, and he was excellent as Christopher Pike in Discovery. Discovery is excellent. I know it's not popular opinion amongst Trek fans who don't, it's not what they want from a Trek show, but I absolutely loved it. I've loved, even though the third season was kind of the weakest so far.
Yeah, season 3 was quite weak. Yeah. Just trying to pull together too many story threads. I still have memorized any of the bridge crew's name. You know, that's a bad thing on a Trek show. You don't know the bridge crew's name.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, I think from even from the weakest of the previous shows like Voyager, from the the first episode, you knew it was Chakotay and Tom Paris and Harry Kim and things like this, and you knew them. Whereas now it's like, yes, it's
Michael Burnham.
Well, Michael Burnham, and
that's it. Yeah, but
that's it.
But anyway, so Shang-Chi trailer was pretty good. Obviously, we had the latest episodes of Winter Falcon, as they call it on Facebook, on YouTube, Winter Falcon. They shortened it down from Falcon and Winter Soldier. That was fantastic.
It was a good episode.
Another good episode, and obviously Invincible over on Amazon as well. So
let's not rush past Falcon first. Let's talk about Falcon first. I think.
Yeah,
it ended just as I was wanting them to show. Like, let's see the Captain America suit. Let's see the suit. Obviously, that's what's in the box. He's going to put it on. He's going to appear in his next one. They've got so much to fit. I mean, I hope it's a long episode. This last episode, because they've got so much to fit in.
Well, the last one was an hour.
Yeah, so hopefully this one needs to be an hour as well.
Yeah. So hopefully, yeah. They've got a lot of story to cram in. So fingers crossed.
We have all sorts of rumors, obviously. You've got the Flag Smashers. There might be spoilers now for the next 10 seconds or 20 seconds or so. Eyes shut. But they've got to deal with the Flag Smashers. They've got to deal with John Walker. Rumour has it, because of the sort of Young Avengers possibly coming, they've got to find some way to introduce, or more introduce, Elias Washington, Elias Bradley even. Into the thing. So, they've got a lot to cover, and hopefully it's a 2-hour episode. Hopefully it's like a movie.
Well,
that's what I'd like to see.
Well, that's it. Yeah, it was a good episode. I feel that they've been taking their time a little bit, but then you can do that with a television show, especially a weekly show, because obviously as it's dropping weekly, you're not binging it. And if you were to binge it, I reckon you probably get tired of it pretty quickly, because there are a lot of scenes where there's a lot of downtime. The weekly format, I think, worked well for it, especially as you're waiting for the next episode, as opposed to I can just watch it now.
I think that goes back to what you used to say. If you remember when you grew up watching the RKO serials on BBC Two, it was like Flash Gordon and things like this. They worked in 15-minute periods, because you would have like an open scene, a 3-act thing, just like you do in a movie, a fight scene, a chase scene, and then a cliffhanger, and it works brilliant in an episodic format. But then occasionally they would put them together as like a 2-hour movie. The 10 episodes or the episodes cut into a 2-hour movie, and it was just exhausting. It was just chase after fight after cliffhanger. It doesn't work like that. So yeah, this weekly episodic format does work for the Marvel stuff. I think people have gotten used to waiting for the Marvels now.
It's good that we're getting the shows weekly. It's good that we're getting the shows weekly, because obviously we've learned to binge shows now. All 10 episodes of like Daredevil's dropping in one day. So you're like, there's 10 episodes, right? I'm going to watch it. You're done in 2 days. That's it. Whereas this is,
you've
stretched it over
for another 4 months or something like that. Yeah.
Well, that's it. And the way Disney Plus is working just now, we're getting that's Falcon and Winter Soldier finishing. We're getting the Bad Batch, Star Wars, and then we're getting Loki, and then it's like new show after new show after new show. So we're getting something Star Wars, Marvel, Star Wars, Marvel. Yeah. So it's quite good. So
coming very soon as well. So they're trying to encourage you into Disney every single week, so that you can, because we said about the Netflix thing, when they were dropping a show, you could get it for 1 week or 1 month. Sign up for a free weekend or something like that, and binge the 10 episodes of Daredevil, and then just never have to do it. With a spy Disney, you're obviously keeping you in. every week you've got to come back for the Mandalorian, the Bad Batch. It's going to be Book of Boba Fett at some point. It's third season in the Mandalorian. The Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show, which is to come.
Cassian
Marvel's
Andor
What If is coming down the line. Cassian Andor is getting his own
so
show.
much stuff.
Yeah,
you know what?
Stuff coming out every week.
I'm here for it.
And the Mighty Ducks. The Mighty Ducks thing.
It's on the list. The Mighty Ducks. Lauren Graham's in that, so it's definitely on the list.
Yeah.
And do enjoy from Lauren Graham. Yeah.
So yeah, it's certainly worthwhile. I think the Disney subscription's paying for itself. So,
definitely, yeah. But as for the Falcon and Winter Soldier, it's heading in a good direction. Obviously, if you're familiar with the kind of the John Walker storyline from the comics, it's following that pretty well, and it's tying it in with the sort of recent Captain America comics from Falcon was the Captain America. So yeah, it's a very good show, very well put together.
Definitely. Like I say, I think they're knocking it out of the park with this one.
Yeah, I mean, but my favorite Marvel film is Captain America: Winter Soldier. So, and it feels just like that.
I've said this many times. That was an out and out like a Cold War thriller. It just felt like it was a much better written movie. Even though there was the action sequences, it was a much better written movie. We're still staying true to the source material.
And it's not just a good Marvel movie; it's a good movie. Period. I've always said this. It's the best one, and the fact that this show feels like it, it's captured that kind of same kind of spirit. Because that's the good thing the Marvel shows do, and the movies, in fact, make you feel like you're in the real world. Whereas the DC movies are very stylized, and that's fine. That works for them. Obviously, the Marvel movies, even though they're fantastical, they keep you grounded in that real world. So. Just like in the comics, like all the heroes are based in New York, Well,
that's how I was going to say that. There's something to be said for that. Marvel's always based their characters in real world cities, whereas DC has their own. It's easy to say Gotham is like Chicago and Metropolis is like New York and things like this, and you've got Central City as well and things like this. But yeah, it's always been very clear that DC comics don't take place in our world. They take place in a different one, which is it allows them to take liberties sometimes, like in the Smallville TV show, where Metropolis was just outside Kansas.
If you look at Batman versus Superman, you're in Metropolis and you can see Gotham City over the water. It's just a helicopter ride away. It's like
that was the thing as well. Superman grew up in Kansas and Smallville, and they all supported Metropolis because the assumption was Metropolis was right in Kansas. But then they were in the Smallville. They were at the docks, and I might be wrong here, but Kansas is completely landlocked, is it not? Is it just, there is no docks anywhere in Kansas. You're 2,000 miles to the closest ocean. Might be wrong there. If I am, I'm sure somebody will let me know. But because it's never been officially said where Metropolis is, where Gotham is. They could be. It could be like Minnesota and who's it? Is it Minnesota and there's one on the Canadian side, which is like two cities are opposite sides of a river. Is it Vancouver or Montreal? One of those Canadian ones.
One of those very few Canadian ones, yeah.
Well, it's Vancouver, Montreal, Quebec.
Quebec, Ontario. I don't know.
These are districts, though. I don't know.
Who knows?
There is. Believe me, there is. There are two cities which are on opposite sides of, I think, the St. Lawrence River or something like that in America, and one's on the Canadian side and one's on the American side, and they're that close. It could be that Metropolis and Gotham are like that. Who knows?
Maybe, yeah. Who knows?
Until DC put out an official map, which they're not going to do.
They're never going to do it now. No. So that's that show. Invincible. Have you been watching Invincible?
I'm not up to date with Invincible. I think I've got at least one episode to watch. I think I've been dealing with other things this week.
Right, okay.
And Invincible is the one show. I think the last one I watched, or I'm in the middle actually. I had to end it halfway through. And Mahershala Ali pops up though, who's getting a bit of a comic reputation. Obviously, he was in Luke Cage. He's going to be Blade, and he's a bad guy in Invincible.
And he was the Prowler in Spider-Verse. He was Miles Morales' uncle.
Oh, that's right, Miles Morales' uncle, wasn't he? Yeah, I saw.
He was the Prowler, yeah. So he's getting around too.
He's chasing down Chris Evans for, most comic adaptations.
That's it. Yeah.
So I think Evans
think
is
about him.
4 or 5 that I can think about.
Evans.
So,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, The Losers, Scott Pilgrim.
The Losers, Scott Pilgrim. The one about the train.
Snowpiercer, I believe, was a comic as well.
Snowpiercer, yeah. Fantastic Four and Captain America. So you're looking at least 5.
Yeah, definitely.
Mahershala Ali's after.
That's it, yeah. But Invincible, it's a really good show, and it's the voice cast is stunning. Every week there's a new voice. You come on, you go, oh, that's such and such. Oh, that's such and such. So that was Ezra Miller just popped up last week there as a voice.
Brilliant.
Michael Dorn a couple of weeks ago from Worf from Star Trek. He just popped up. Lots of great voice casting. I think
I
really
spoke
good
about this
as well.
the first week because it was like Jason Mantzoukas, who is just the funniest guy in the world. If you've seen him in Community or The League or anything like that, he's just the funniest guy, and he's there as Explode, and he's absolutely brilliant. And I said that everyone in that voice cast is brilliant. Domino, the girl who plays Domino, is his girlfriend. I can't remember her name now either.
Gillian Jacobs is Atom Eve.
Gillian
from
Jacobs, yeah.
Yeah, she's from Community as well. Yeah, it's just a great cast. J.K. Simmons, obviously, as
definitely.
Yeah, it's just a great cast.
Bennett.
It's not a comic that I've read. It was always on the radar. I think it was like 100 issues in before I clocked it, and I thought,
I think I've
maybe
read 2
not.
or 3 trades. I think I'm not right into it. Like I've read first 2 or 3 trades, so I know what's happening this season, and I don't know what's going on this season. But if it runs for long enough, I'm not going to know what's going on. But I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago as well. I think it's the amount of talent Robert Kirkman has. At the same time as he was writing Invincible, he was also writing The Walking Dead and Outcast.
Walking Dead, yeah.
And he was doing Marvel Zombies, and he was doing a run on Ant-Man for Marvel and stuff like this. And you think,
yes,
I've been thinking about writing a comic, and I've got an idea permanently in my head, and I've been thinking about doing it for about 3 months, and I've got like 2 lines of dialogue down, and he's he must have been pounding out, page after page. I've got to do 40 pages before lunch, sort of thing.
I think he was like 25 when he started. Yeah, so very talented chap. Obviously, I think Kevin Smith had him on his podcast, Batman Beyond, a couple of weeks ago, and there was a lot of interesting Walking Dead behind the scenes and Invincible behind the scenes, and seemed like a good chap.
Yeah, that's good. What age is he now? He can't be the same age as us.
No, I'd maybe late 30s, early 40s, maybe.
It's that all. So he's still got so many years, so much more. What's going to be next? What's going to be next for this guy?
Who knows? Who
knows where he's going to go? Maybe something to do with zombies. He does like zombies.
He does like zombies.
Did the Marvel zombies as well and things like this. Speaking of zombies, Army of Darkness, was it? Have you seen the trailer?
Army of the Dead?
Army of the Dead. Army of Darkness is something completely different.
I haven't seen the trailer.
I've started rewatching Ash vs Evil Dead. That's why Army of Darkness is in my head. I've started rewatching Ash vs Evil Dead on the.
It's genius.
On Prime.
Ash vs Evil Dead is genius. That first episode, oh my god, so many good shots.
With
he jumps up with the chainsaw
and just jumped into it. The bit that got me was with the doll with the wee Stanley knife.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. So Army of the Dead though. That's obviously the new thing which is out. If you've not seen Ash vs Evil Dead, get on it now. But yeah, Army of the Dead.
I've not seen the
trailer.
trailer.
Looks awesome.
I haven't seen it, but it's on my list of things to watch when it comes out.
I don't know if I would get a copyright notice if I.
You'd have to drop the volume and stuff like that. So there's not much point.
No,
they'll cut you off.
Yeah,
no, it's on the list.
The trailer looks great.
I try not to watch too many trailers because trailers, as we know, give most of the stuff away. So I like to be surprised now and again.
I didn't usually go out to find trailers for that very reason. I think I complained many times about the trailers, like for things like the Terminator movies and stuff like this. They give away everything. Everything to do with it, and it's not always a good thing. But because I watch so many YouTube videos, and the trailer will start, and you've got to watch the first 5 seconds before you can ditch it. And usually I'll just skip straight away. But this one came on, and I was like, "Oh, what's this? Oh, that's." Oh. I wasn't even sure what it was at first. I just recognised Mr. Batista. And I thought, oh, what's this? Yeah, looks awesome. A zombie tiger's in it. I mean, Jesus, a zombie tiger. Why would you watch anything else?
Zack Snyder returning to zombie movies, that was his first feature, wasn't it? Dawn of the Dead, the remake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I think a lot of people were kind of a wee bit up in arms about that when it came out because these zombies didn't, they moved pretty fast.
They did move fast.
The quick zombie, and that terrified everybody. I think because everybody really thought if there was a zombie apocalypse, I'd be all right. It'd be like Shaun of the Dead. I'd be able to go out there with a cricket bat, things like that. They shamble about the place. You'd be able to avoid them, hit them with a cricket bat, and just get on with life. Hit them with the bat, get down to the Winchester, have a nice pint, and wait for it all to blow over.
That's it. But no, these zombies are fast. Yeah,
these zombies move.
28 days later as well, they were fast zombies as well. Not a fan of the fast zombie.
I want slow zombies. I think it's just
slow zombies.
Slow zombies.
Yeah.
What else have you been watching this week, mate? Anything good you've been watching? I know that you're a big movie fan. I know you had that.
That's right. Big loud motorbike behind me there. Wow. Nothing new so much. I'm all
Nick Cage season. I think.
I was quite annoyed at having my day ruined yesterday by jury duty, as you know. And I was in the mood for something fun to watch. And I'm thinking, what have I got that's fun? And then, you know what? Con Air. It has to be Con Air. And in it went, and 2 hours later, I was in such a good mood. Fantastic film.
Do a trilogy: Con Air, Face Off, and The Rock. Do that as like a one-day Nick Cage.
Well, I've got a Bruckheimer box set on Blu-ray, and I'm looking at it right now. It's The Rock, Armageddon, Con Air, Enemy of the State, Crimson Tide, Gone in 60 Seconds, Deja Vu, and Pearl Harbor.
I'd miss Pearl Harbor.
I'd miss Pearl Harbor, but that's not a bad box set to be going.
Is Deja Vu the John Cusack one?
No, Deja Vu is Denzel Washington and Val Kilmer.
No.
Directed by Tony Scott. Yeah, it's a great film.
Okay, I'm thinking a completely different film then. Yeah, I'll have to look at it.
Not well worth a watch. So yeah, I looked at that box and went, you know what? Con Air. It's going to happen right now. Con Air. And it was 2 hours of just over the top, just stupidity. It was so good.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good, John Malkovich is in that, and
Ving Rhames, John Cusack, Paul Meany. Oh,
John Cusack.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Cusack.
Yeah. John Cusack. Yeah, he's like the federal marshal.
The marshal, isn't he? That's right.
Yeah. So it's a great film.
Steve
Buscemi.
Buscemi,
yeah. And what else did I be watching? Still rewatching The Office, my second time through. So I'm season 2. Season 9. Sorry, my apologies, of The Office. So I'm almost done
It was
again.
only 2 episodes. I thought it was only 2 seasons of that. I think.
Oh,
And then he decided it was doing it.
American Office. My apologies.
An American Workplace. Yeah, I'm only kidding. The American Office is so much better than the British Office that it's not even funny.
Yeah.
It's just
so. It's my second time round on that. So yeah, season 9 of that. Too. Yeah, it's such a great show. You know, it's one of those ones that's now it seems to be on repeat.
That's it. It comes off of Netflix and it goes on to Amazon and then comes off of Amazon and goes on to Disney and stuff. It's just always.
Well, it's on both now. It's on Amazon and Netflix.
I had a great idea a few years ago for a show. I should have pitched it to the network and it would have sold forever. You know, they remade The Odd Couple with Matthew Perry, Kate Perry and stuff like this.
Yeah.
There's Neil saying that the British Office is shit.
It's not shit.
That's a young picture, Neil. It's not shit. It's not great. It's funny. I enjoyed it first time round, but it's not the American Office. But yeah, I was going to pitch it a remake of The Odd Couple, but with Nick Offerman and Rainn Wilson.
Oh my word!
It would win Emmy after Emmy after Emmy. Every time it's like, and for best performance in an Emmy, it's joint winners this year for the 17th year running. I would just, you guys, I would just watch week after week after week.
Oh, definitely,
let's do it, people. Let's do it.
Yeah, because when the Office does, that's when it's finished. It's right. What to watch now? Community. Watch Community. When that's done, back onto Parks and Rec. When that's done, New Girl, and just start again.
No, see, for me, the trilogy is Community, The Office, and Parks and Rec. And yeah, I think I've done them both twice through.
Yes.
And I'm not quite ready to restart. It would be the Community would be the next one because that would be, on the thing. There are many other shows that I watch, but not that I've rewatched so many times as those 3 shows.
Yeah. No, it's strange.
I'm ready for a third watching.
Yeah.
But the Office and Parks and Rec, I can leave first season of both of them.
Right, okay. Yeah, okay.
The first season of both of them is the coolest.
Yeah. Did you watch Schitt's Creek?
I didn't. I couldn't get into it. I watched the first few episodes and I really tried. People raved about it and I really tried. I can't go over how young Neil looks in that picture. He looks like, he looks like he's no like shaving yet. He looks like, he's no had to shave. He's maybe just, he's got his cat to lick his face or something like that. And that's been good enough for him. That must be about 15 years old. I know for a fact that lad's got grey hair now. So, that looks like a school picture, Neil. Sorry, mate. Need to update that. It was not last year. You've had that picture as long as I've known you. Apart from that time you had the ill-conceived one with the moustache. Remember the moustache? Show us the moustache. Yeah, both Parks and Recreation. I think The Office season 1, the problem was it was too close to the British. They basically just took the scripts from Britain and they were kind of too close and it was kind of very cringy. And Michael Scott season 1 isn't very likeable. He's basically like, the character for the British Office. And the character grows on you over the 6 or 7 seasons that he's in that show. And then, season 1 he just wasn't there. And I think Amy Poehler was the same. Amy Poehler? Amy Poehler?
Yeah, Amy Poehler, yeah.
The Parks and Rec was built to be like The Office, and she was the same. She was a bit abrasive, a bit, not as likeable as she was in later seasons.
Yeah, no. Season 2, really, really kicks off. But then when Adam Scott comes in and Rob Lowe comes in, that's when the show really picks up.
They kind of swap him out for the one guy who leaves. The city manager.
Brandanowitz. Yeah, Brandanowitz.
Mark Brandanowitz. And they kind of moved him out and brought in those two. And from there, it just goes from strength to strength to strength.
Yeah, fantastic stuff.
Getting my looks done in Bigfoot's droopy cousin. Are you drinking tonight, Neil? Getting my looks done in
Oh, by Bigfoot.
Sorry, I'm Bigfoot's droopy cousin.
Bigfoot.
Right, okay.
There you go.
Thanks for that. He's out bantered me there. That's me trolled. That's burned.
Yep.
We've both got a bit of facial hair going on. Grow a beard. Yeah, I totally agree. Once they moved on with Adam and thingy.
People are home.
People running out in the background.
There's my kid, yeah.
And like, it's only up there for a second, Neil, because that was just completely unnecessary. Neil will be on next week. If anybody wants to come on next week and just abuse him,
just slag him off.
Slag him off. I'll find that picture of him and his moustache, and we'll bring it back.
He'll grow a beard by next week.
Yeah. Community is another one. I think that it didn't have a poor first season. I think the first season was excellent. I think the first from the first episode, Community was brilliant. I had a poor last season, but and The Office kind of tailed off a little bit as well. And
the last two seasons of The Office, the season 9's a bit rough, a bit choppy, but for the most part,
but Parks and Rec didn't. Parks and Rec was an absolute brilliance. Is that your dinner, Johnny? You need to.
No, that's not my dinner. No, but people are making noises behind me. Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to this weekend? Just Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then.
Yep. Yeah, looking forward to the finale of that, and obviously the new episode of Invincible. And I'm going to bust through my Hellraiser box set that just arrived. So Hellraiser 1 to 3 Blu-ray box sets. I'll be checking that out at some point. Not back to back, obviously, because that's a bit too much back to back. And then who knows? Maybe some more Nick Cage.
Do a season. Why not?
Do a season.
He's got
about 10 films out a year, so I'm about 20 films behind.
Yeah, he makes some shite these days, I'll be honest with you. I know he had some tax problems and he's got to churn them out, but oh my god, I don't know. I think hell would be having to watch back-to-back Nick Cage and Adam Sandler movies for the whole of eternity. Just as, new ones as they come out every single week. That would just.
Well, I did a season last year. I watched 3 of the newer ones, and
Sandler.
It was pretty rough. Yeah, it was hard
Cage.
Work. Yeah, Cage.
I think he lost it. Early 2000s, and it's just been. I think the last one I watched was a film called Knowing, where the trees were us. And it was just, it's very rare that you watch a movie and you end up going, what the fuck just happened?
What happened?
Yeah, what was that?
But actually, there was one I recently watched. There was a mainstream movie I watched recently. I can't remember what the hell it's called, don't ask me. But it was Ben Affleck and Anne Hathaway on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
I watched all, still couldn't tell you what happened in it. It's just, I don't know how sometimes these things get made. It's just weird.
Yeah. You think, sometimes I look at them and think, this is the same guy who's made some great movies. Why has he done this? There was a movie on 2 weeks ago on BBC, and I've seen it about 5 times, but because it was on TV, I watched it again and I taped it because it's absolutely brilliant. It's a movie called The Accountant.
Yes.
Ben Affleck. Right?
Fantastic.
So he makes that, right? Why, if he's making that, why is he making Jiggly and unnamed Anne Hathaway movie?
Yeah, I don't know. It's very strange. Yeah. Did you see the recent basketball film he made? The Way Back.
I did. Yeah, I did. It just
same director as The Accountant. Yeah.
Yeah, it left me a little bit confused. I don't know. It just seemed like it. He expected them to be redeemed at the end, and he wasn't. He was just still a drunk. And,
But he was hopeful. He was a hopeful drunk.
Hopeful. I do like sports movies. That's why another reason why I will always keep my Disney Plus subscription, because they make the best sport movies. The Rookie and
the Invincibles on there as well on Disney Plus.
Invincibles.
Remember the Titans?
It's one we Remember the Titans with Denzel Washington, and yeah, it's a great movie.
There's actually a great one on there. There's a great one on there. Kevin Costner. It's called Mcfarland USA.
Yes, what's that? Yeah, it's the jogging team, the cross country running team.
Yeah,
if it's a sports movie, I've watched it. Coach Carter. With Nick Fury as the coach.
Yeah. We Are Marshall. Did you see that one?
We Are Marshall. Yeah, that one's even better because half the kids die.
That's outrageous.
Based on a true story. As is Remember the Titans. As is Coach Carter. As is Mcfarland Usa. This is the thing. These are all usually based on things. And obviously the rookie. Was it the rookie with
Dennis Quaid?
Mark
Rookie,
Wahlberg, with Marky Mark.
No, that was
the one with Marky Mark.
That was the Invincible.
Invincible.
Yeah.
Where he was the youngest walk on. Yeah. Love me a sports drama.
As do I, and I hate sports. So there you
go. The only one that's known there, because it wasn't made by Disney, it's made by MTV. The only one that's missing is the one with Dawson, the American football one with Dawson's
Varsity Blues.
Varsity Blues. That's the one.
That's not based on a true story, though. That's
that one's not based on a true story, though.
No.
That one's so badly wanted to be. Actually, the best of them all. I don't know if it was Disney though, but the best of them all was Friday Night Lights. And it's become a phenomenally good TV show, which is another TV show I've watched multiple times through.
Yeah.
Friday Night Lights.
I do enjoy a good sports movie, yeah.
The coach from Friday Night Lights, Kyle Chandler, the coach from Friday Night Lights, should have been Cable. He was the first choice to play Cable by the director at the time, and he was the guy that was wanted.
He was good in Game Night. Did you see Game Night? Jason Bateman, Rachel McAdams. Yeah, he was good in that. Yeah, very good film.
He's another one. Adam Sandler should be looking at Jason Bateman. Jason Bateman never makes a bad movie. This is the thing. Actually, we'll have to talk about this because I watched this movie, Thunder
Force.
Thunder Force, Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but yeah.
It's awful. Like, people are raving about it and saying it's brilliant. Personally, I think it's terrible. But Jason Bateman steals the show. He plays a character who's half man, half crab, and he's got crab arms. And every time there's, not going to give anything away, but every time there's a showdown and somebody jumps in with a gun, he puts his hands up like that and then shuffles off sideways like a crab. Watch out for it. He does it about 3 or 4 times during the movie. It's the funniest thing in the world. Apart from that, the rest of the movie, I think Melissa McCarthy is the female Adam Sandler to me. I think it's just
okay.
It's not great in my opinion.
Fair enough.
But
yeah, anything Bateman, I'm up for it.
Bateman's very good.
I've got Office Christmas Party here. Have you seen that one? Office Christmas Party?
I've not seen that one, no.
Very funny indeed.
That one was like one of those, Love Actually type things.
Oh no.
Like New Year's Eve or something like that. Is it not like that? Is it?
Completely.
Is it more like Horrible Bosses or something like that?
It's more along that kind of vein of humour, yeah. Horrible Bosses kind of thing, yeah. Very funny film. Well worth a watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything Bateman, sign me up. I'll watch it.
Love me a bit of Bateman. Obviously, his TV shows as well are, generally speaking, pretty good. Since all the way back to his days as Teen Wolf. That was him.
Teen Wolf 2. He was Teen Wolf 2.
Teen Wolf 2. That's right, aye. It was in the TV show. I don't know if he was in the TV show. But that's right. He was in the second movie. He did boxing rather than basketball.
Yeah.
Okay, well we've gone over a wee bit this week.
Here comes my cat.
Because you just get talking at a time. A wee cat there.
There's my visitor from here.
Thanks very much for coming on, John.
Yeah, no problem.
Hopefully see you again in 2 weeks' time, if that would be okay.
Potentially, yeah.
I think
we'll see.
We'll see. Next week we've got Neil Donaldson, who's been commenting on it, and probably Mark. But 2 weeks' time, I've got David Cranner of Glass City Comics on. So he's fascinating. thanks for all the people who were watching. I think we were at a high of 7 or 8 at one point.
Good stuff.
So good viewing figures tonight. I think I'm quite surprised, quite pleased. Neil said, "Boo, that guy sucks." I think that's from when I said next week we've got Neil Donaldson on, talk about his comic experience. So if you want to see Neil, I'm assuming he'll have shaved or, let a cat lick his face or something like that before he comes on. He'll look smart. Don't worry. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we've got to call it a day. This time next week we'll also be able to talk about the Falcon and Winter Soldier finale, so that could be an excellent one. And with that, I'm going to call it a day. See you next week. Cheers, folks.